Hello, William. Welcome to If Innovation Could Talk.
Thank you, Eva, for having me.
Pleasure. Now, William, you have got a very successful business. You actually recently won the 2020 ASEAN Business Awards for SME Excellence in Innovation. And yet you are not a scientist, but you run this successful R&D company. You have the courage and also an appetite to take risk. Tell us a little bit more about the thought process and what is your tolerance level for failure?
I've got good tolerance for failure because as in R&D, you will never get the first shot and you will never get it right on the first shot. That's what we call R&D, research and development. I think research and development is perseverance. I mean, you must not be afraid to fail. And if you fail, you have to redo it again and get things right.
When do you know you keep persevering, or when do you know to call it quits?
Well, when we call it quits, it means that, we have tried at least 3 to 4, concoctions. And we don't succeed after the 3rd or 4th concoctions. I think probably that's the time where we think that we have failed, and we will have to look forward and go with different things.
Earlier when we chatted, you also mentioned a concept around globalization, which is very timely given that I'm here in Australia interviewing you sitting there in Malaysia. So you actually mentioned that globalization is supposed to reduce barriers to global trade, but it doesn't always work. But you have found a way to find the recipe for collaboration. Tell us a little bit more.
Okay, I think globalization is a dirty word today because I think every country, they would want you to buy their products. I mean, when you talk about globalization, I mean, like for example, myself, when I approach anyone within the ASEAN region, but my intention is to sell my product. So, I mean, it's not going to work very easily that way. However, after having said that, if there is a situation where we could collaborate, like for example, if we are doing an enzyme-based product and they have what they call it, the authority, where we can have, we have the expertise so that we can do collaboration together.
Something you mentioned previously as well is about listening being a part of R&D. And I thought that was a very good point. Would you tell the community a little bit more about that?
Well, I think R&D, you have to listen to various people because I think if we all, all the researchers sit down together, we'll be thinking of the same avenue because we are all researchers. But if I were to have the different walks of life, like for example, my research team in Malaysia now, we have got 3 different what they call it avenues of education. So we have got a biotech, we have got a chemical engineering, and we have got a manufacturing person. So that when I talk to them, they would give me different thoughts because they are from different faculties. So that would be better. And I also speak to my people. I mean, like it could be my office administrator or even the accountants. Talk to them and they will give me some ideas, and then I would, work on the ideas.
Give us an advice on what an individual can do to stay on the course of innovation and not be afraid of failure.
All right. I think the important thing is perseverance. I think you have to persevere, and then you have to be very focused in what you want to do. I find that many people are not focused. I mean, they have got a lot on their plates and not focusing on only one item at a time. Say, for example, the big companies like Procter & Gamble, they may have like 30 scientists there, and they are not focused at all because what they do is they allow their juniors to do all the work, and they would look through it, and then they'll say, yes, this is approved, or that is not approved because of this and that. But for us, as a small R&D team, we are very focused. So each time when we do something, we will always focus on that particular, what they call it, formulation, to make sure that, we do the best. And always, you must always be the best. Don't think that the formulation is good let's put it out in the market. I think that's very wrong. I think everybody is doing that. But for us, or for those who are in the innovations, I would suggest that you make sure that when you finish that work, go back 2, 3, 4 times to make sure that it's the best product before you actually bring it out into the market. That's my advice to any innovators.
That is great advice. William, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Eva.